So students, let us start our Miley on introduction. It's not Miley, it's an introductory class today. Introduction to statistical physics. Okay, so the first important thing that we need to know today before we start our classes, that why do we need to introduce statistical physics? Considering other branches of physics, for example, what do we do in classical mechanics? In classical mechanics, what happens? In classical mechanics, well, it is mainly based on Newtonian laws. So classical mechanics is mainly based on Newtonian laws. Okay, it is mainly based on Newtonian laws of motion. Newtonian laws of motion, and it can explain what? All the observable characteristics of systems of bodies small in numbers. So basically classical mechanics deals with systems of bodies small in number. Systems of bodies small in number. That's what it deals with. Okay, so basically we can form, how do we solve systems in classical mechanics? We actually form differential equations of motions of such bodies. We form differential equations of motion of such bodies, and from there what do we determine? We determine the displacement, velocity, energy, etc. from the solutions of the differential equations. But when the system consists of very large number of particles, so systems with very large number of particles, that's possible, isn't it? Then how do we solve the properties of such systems? Say for example, as in the case of a macroscopic thermodynamic system, the usual approach that we take, as we had taken for classical mechanics, becomes very difficult. So because here we have to deal with cases involving large number of differential equations. So if we try to solve the differential equations, it means we would have to involve cases. So for such systems, it would involve cases requiring solutions to large number of differential equations, requiring solutions to systems involving large number of differential equations. Okay, all right. So students, basically, therefore we have to think of something else. To be a little more lucid and elaborate, let us consider an example. An example of what? Take a mole of gas. Take a mole of gas. 1 mole of gas. 1 mole of gas is relatively a small volume of matter, as all of you must be knowing. But we know that the number of molecules in a mole of a gas is the Avogadro number. So it has 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 molecules, isn't it? So we have so many molecules in 1 mole of a gas. All right. Okay. So this is called Avogadro number. Now if we take each molecule here, for each molecule you will see each of them can be depicted by, so each molecule each molecule will have its X, Y and Z, as well as, that means position, as well as Vx, Vy, Vz. So each molecule will be signified by its own position X, Y and Z, as well as its velocity Vx, Vy and Vz, isn't it? So such initial conditions, okay, we will have for all these 6.0, each and every one of these 6.023 into 10 to the power molecules, 23 molecules, isn't it? The number is more than, if we just look into this number, the actual number of equations, suppose if we set up considering each number of molecules, then this number will be around, say, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and then 22, 23, 24. So you see, look at the number, this huge number. So you have to describe so many equations. You have to describe the position and velocity of all the molecules at a particular instant, so, and set up so many parameters for solving the equation. And if there is any counter to count, suppose say you have a computer or a counter which can count 10 to the power 6 number per second. So if a counter or computer can solve, say, in 1 second 10 to the power 6 numbers of equations, then also it will take around 10 to the power 11 years for counters evaluating at the rate of 10 to the power 6 events per second. So you see, this is practically impossible. So what we do over here to get rid, it's a kind of a riddle. You see, the problem is there, the numbers are there, situations are there, it happens. So how do we solve it? It's a riddle, isn't it? What do we do to get rid of this riddle? Okay, so we have to actually now, that's what we do basically, consider a new branch of physics to deal such a problem. And this branch of physics is called statistical physics. So by using statistical methods, one can easily and quickly solve problems to that large dimension and extract the macroscopic properties as well as know the microscopic property. So statistical physics in a way tries to correlate the microscopic properties of each and every small particles in a system to the corresponding bulk or macroscopic property that is produced in the system. So we can get, from thermodynamic study, we get the idea of the macroscopic property of a system. But this connection of microscopic to macroscopic is done by using statistical methods. So this is the aim of our present class today. We would like to use statistical techniques, statistical methods to solve problems involving large number of variables. And when I say large, I literally mean it. It's millions and billions. Now, if you remember the example that I gave you in class, that when you toss a coin, what is the probability that you see a head? All of you had said half. But then we realized that if we toss the coin 10 times, the probability is not that we'll see head 5 times. Only if we toss the coin a million times, a billion times, the result half goes to more and more exact value. So that is what we see from our study of statistical physics. So if you apply statistical laws to small number of particles, then the laws will fail. If you apply the laws to, you have to apply the statistical laws to large number of particles. Okay, all right. So let's begin.